I guess, the second build-up video of the 2022 Subaru Wilderness. Went to in-laws house to use a four-post lift, which is a little convenient for doing that. And then what we're installing is front, mid, and rear skid plates from Primitive Racing. Nice quality skid plates. I had them on my cross trek, and they've worked great. Installed pretty easy. So what we're gonna do today is go through and get these installed. And I've never done them on this car, but they should be pretty much the same almost as the cross track. So we'll kind of learn together, I guess. And I think what I'm going to start with is probably the mid plate, just in case if the front one overlaps it. So let me get set up a minute, and we'll go ahead and do the mid plate a minute, and I'll show you that process. Okay, and now on the mid plate, you end up taking the factory brace plates off. You're not going to reuse those. What you do reuse is some of the factory hardware. And the skid plate will actually replace these. The skid plate's probably more stout than what these factory plates are. So it's just a matter of taking, you got 3 here, 1, 2, 3 there, and same on the other side. 3 in the front and 3 in the back. And that takes off these factory braces. And then, like I said, it just utilizes the majority of the factory bolts, and that mid skid plate will go right on. So let me get those factory braces off, and then we'll come back to you and get the skid plate. Alright, here we're working on the first cross brace. Like I said, just comes right down, and it's just, I don't know what the thickness is. Definitely the skid plate is going to be a lot stouter than what these are. And you just take off the bolt and pull it down. What this actually is the cross brace, just to help brace out your subframe and whatnot. As you can see over on the driver's side, I still have that one mounted. But just take it out. It's a 14 millimeter. Set all your nuts or bolts aside, and we will go ahead and get the driver's side off and get the skid plate held up. We have the driver's side and the passenger side factory braces pulled off. The skid plate just bolts into most of the factory holes using the factory hardware. So let's get this hauled up a minute. We'll get some bolts in it. Grab some bolts there, Emerson, and get them started. Like I said, this mid one goes in real easy. The rest of them should be the same way too. I know on the cross track I did it on the garage floor on my back by myself, so. But seeing how the in-laws have a lift, and we're not laying on our backs, we thought we'd come out here. Got my son helping today, holding it up and threading it. And then definitely for sure, you just want to get them hand tight. You want to be able to move your skid plate around a little bit. That way you can get the holes lined up. And then once you have them all lined up, you can go ahead and tighten them down. I'm sure there is a torque spec. I want to say it's between, see, that's one thing with this skid plate. It did not come with the directions for the mid. But I believe it's probably no higher than 33 foot-pounds of torque you want to tighten these down to. I can always put that in the description as far as all the torque specs. for right now, I'm just going to tighten them down. I know how loose or how tight they were when I took them off. So we'll just go from there. And you do use all the factory bolts except 2. And what I'm going to do with the other 2, I'm just going to thread them back in to the other 2 holes. That way it looks decent, and you don't have open threads. It doesn't really secure anything on top, or it's just more of a cosmetic reason. So, looks nice, all clean, until you get her all scraped up and dirty, but yeah, that's the mid one. Let me get these tightened down, and then we will probably go ahead and take off the front factory plastic skid plate, which they are just plastic. Kind of disappointing. We'll get that taken off, and then we'll get that one mounted. We'll get back to you in a second. Okay, we're going to move on to the front skid plate. We'll have to take the steel skid plate, which is kind of funny because I've seen pictures of where they're all plastic, and then I've seen like mine is plastic with a steel thin skid plate riveted over the front of the plastic to make it look like steel. That's what kind of made me mad about it. All the videos when this car first came out, even now you can still find videos to where the front skid plate was supposed to be factory equipment steel, and I don't know what happened, but they're not steel, they're plastic. Kind of pisses me off. But what we're going to do is take that off. Just a lot of, you know, plastic body clips that hold it on. You got 1, 2 12mm bolts that you'll have to take off, and you will reuse some of the body clips, the plastic clips. So let me get that taken off a minute. If you watch my hitch install video, it shows you how to pull these clips off, so I don't think I'm going to film doing that, but I will get back on it once we get pulled off. Okay, we're back. A quick second. I believe you've got 5 smaller clips on the bottom, I guess, of it that you take out. And there is, well, it's hard to see. I'll try to point them out. 2 bigger ones, one here and one here, that hold the sides on. Actually 3, one more there. And then you got 3 in the front for your bumper cover, which goes through the skid plate, and I believe those are the ones you're going to want to reuse. Those will eventually go back onto the other skid plate. So let me get the rest of the clips out, and the 2 12mm bolts, one here and one here, and that high quality skid plate that the factory put on is going to be behind the plate when they come out. Like that. Oh, I got it right there. You got 3 on your side. Okay, we got all the plastic clips out. I'm just kind of right now double checking to make sure they're all out. Reaching up there, and I see there's one here yet, and I can see actually from the factory they did put one in. Yeah, there's one way up on the side on both sides. So they get those out in a minute, and then we'll go ahead and take the two 12mm bolts out. There's one. And two. After you get all your plastic clips out, it's just the two 12mm bolts. And that high quality dinner plate, they call it skid plate, should come right out. Let's get these out of that. Emerson, if you want to just slide that over a minute and hold that. Okay. Alright, we got those out. I should just kind of slide out. Well, let's double check, push down, and alright, that's out. We'll take we got a shot of this. This is the standard factory steel skid plate that you're supposed to get with these Wilderness. And I don't know what happened with the cost of steel has made them change their mind, but you know, they didn't bother telling any customers. And when we looked at the car, yeah, I didn't crawl underneath on my back. I did look underneath it and seeing this, so to me, I think this is kind of deceiving how they put this metal thing on here to look like it's standard steel skid plate, but it's not. It's just riveted to plastic steel or the plastic skid plate. This will not offer any type of protection whatsoever. And like I said, I've even seen pictures online where they don't even have this piece of steel riveted on there. So I don't know what the factory's thinking, but anyways, even if it was standard steel, more likely I'd still be doing this skid plate replacement. Like I said, I have the primitive on our cross track and couldn't be happier with it. So we'll just get that right there. Skid plate's off. And this is going to have to come off and does not get put back on. This is another factory brace, held on by 4 bolts. And I know we got new longer bolts that came with the skid plate, I believe, that replace these, and your skid plate slides on and you can tighten them down. So this will come off and not be put back on. And I think that's it. You have some plastic clips to replace back on to hold your bumper cover on. I believe your skid plate slides in between here and here. Like I said, we'll find out together. And these look like they're 12mm, I bet. Find out. 12mm. So we'll go ahead and get that yanked down. We'll get the new skid plate pulled over here. We'll get it held up and kind of eyeball it, see if I'm correct on that. But yeah. Let's get this yanked down a minute and get the new skid plate on. Alright. Okay, I got the factory H brace off, I guess they call it. If you look at it, it's definitely off. You got your engine air exposed, and man, it sure looks nice, all nice and clean and brand new. But yeah, let me take a gander at the new skid plate a minute. And it does come with 4 new bolts or longer, and what they do is thread into the factory spots that you took this H plate off. Don't want to thread them in all the way because if you look, I don't know if you can see that, you kind of slide this up in and you leave your bolts loose. That way this slides up over the bolt head and it hangs there, and then you can tighten them down. But yeah, nice quality skid plates. They come with access panel for your drain plug for your oil. So let me dig out the new bolts a minute. And this here, and here. These are the 4 new bolts you get with the kit. They go in the factory holes that held the H cross brace on. And like I said, you want to not thread them in all the way, because what it does is you're going to slide your skid plate up. It's going to hook onto it. That way it'll help hold it up, and then you tighten them down. And I believe the rest will just be plastic clips that will hold this back on here. Yeah, that should be it. Like I said, they go on pretty easy. So let's we'll get it held back up there a minute, and let's see what it does. First thing you want to guide that down in there. You got yours on, or? There you go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. See it just like that. It slides on. And what I'm going to do is we'll tighten it down. And it looks like the center plastic clip is just mainly reused to help hold the center of the bumper cover on. The 2 end ones look like you can go ahead and push those through. I had originally thought that this would tuck up underneath here, but I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. That way it helps protect your lip of your bumper. But nice, a lot better quality than what the factory one was. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty simple. So let's get this snug down. I'm not sure of the torque specs. I know the mid skid plate was 22 to 33 foot-pounds. I think I did kind of split the difference on that. I'm sure these 4 are probably the same here. But you know, just you take them off. You know how it felt to take them off. So just tighten them down good. Don't over tighten them. Definitely don't want to snap your bolts. In the description, we will try to get you the torque specs on them. But I mean, nice skid plate, oil drain, access panel. You've got two screws that you just turn a quarter turn, and that pops right off to get to your access to your oil, so you can do oil change. But yeah, we'll get this tightened down. We'll turn it back on in a minute and show you all installed, and then we'll go ahead and jump to the last one, which is the rear differential. Find it myself. And okay, it's tightened down the 4 bolts. The only thing I have to say bad about this is they should have, right on this side here, they should have had that bend up. They should have had a piece that went up there, but they don't. But I see they have 4 holes, or 3 holes, I'm sorry, already. So I don't know if they offer a side piece just to help keep maybe water out, which, I mean, water's going to get in no matter what. But that's something that I might go ahead and fab down the road here. But that's one thing I think they should have done, is either offered. That way you could utilize the factory plugs, or the body bolts, or body plugs there. So a little bit of things they should have changed on it, but other than that, I'm pretty pleased with it. The quality of it's really nice. So we're going to get the rest of the clips in. I believe it's the smaller ones.
Gotta say something about that.
So we'll get that. It just pops in on that center. Pop your center back in. And then, well, there it says reuse the ones, but I think what we wanted to do, which I might have to loosen it back up. Looks like I should have stuck these plastic body clips in beforehand to re-secure that bumper. So I might loosen these four back up, drop that down a little bit to get my hand in there. And then they do offer a front protection piece that bolts onto here. I was told by them on the phone that it wouldn't fit on the Wilderness. I've seen pictures online of a Wilderness that has these on. As far as I know, it was a factory primitive nose piece, I guess you'd call it. So that's something down the road that I might just either buy or go buy a chunk of aluminum, bend it, and bolt it to here so it wraps around the front a little bit. But other than that, I mean, like I said, I'm pleased with it. So let me get these four bolts loose. Okay, I got the front one installed. A lot of the plastic clips you won't reuse. The holes you see here are for the add-on lip that you can get, which I didn't get, which I should have. But yeah, the three clips that hold your bumper cover on, you definitely want to put those on, back on, before you get your skid plate on. And I'm going to go ahead, and that's nice to save your old plastic clips in case if you lose some or some get ripped out somehow. And what this is for is a 2020 Plus Outback XT and non-turbo kit. Primitive Racing said that it should fit just fine on the Wilderness, and I haven't had any issues yet. So front's done, mid's done, and I'm going to slide down to the rear. As you can see on the floor, those are a lot of the parts that you do not put back on. You got the nice plastic dinner plate, and then A-arm braces, and the H brace that's on the front. Those will not go back on. So do as you will with them. I would suggest putting them away in the garage just in case. Other than that, installation's been pretty easy. I would assume the rear diff installation is going to go just as easy as the front and the mid. So we'll get back to you in a minute once we get down to the other end of the car. Okay, let it focus a minute. Now we're on the rear differential skid plate. I'm going to quick go over the kind of the steps that you're going to go through. These two bottom ones here you're going to loosen up. This one you're going to take out. And then the kit comes with new countersunk nuts that will go over these two here after you take these off. That's to hold the skid plate. But first what you do, like I said, is you loosen these two up, take this one out, your skid plate bracket gets on there, and then you swing it and tighten everything down. So let's get that far, and then we'll show you putting the whole skid plate on that. Okay, like I said, these two bottom ones here you want to loosen up far enough to where your bracket will slide behind them. It's the same way when I did the cross track, and I didn't have any problems with the diff leaking. So don't worry about that. So just loosen them up far enough so they can slide behind them. And then this one here is the one you're going to want to take all the way out. So we'll get that taken out. I want to say the torque on these, I believe it was 14 foot-pounds. I'll double check, and like I said, I'll try to put it in the description. You want to take that, thread that back in there. That slides up like that. And for right now, I'm just snugging these up to hold that up until we get everything mounted. So that's that bracket. Like I said, everything's just going to get snugged up right now. I'm going to probably check the torque specs on those and then torque them down. So let's move on to the main skid plate that bolts onto here. And then you replace these two nuts with the provided countersunk nuts that came with the kit. So give me a second, I'll grab on my parts and pieces. Okay, right now that's how that's going to go on. It's not bolted, I'm just holding it up. That way you guys can see it. It comes with provided hardware to mount to the back bracket, and then like I said, you get two of these in your kit, countersunk nuts that go right in here and replace the factory ones. So let me get the two big factory nuts off. We'll get the new ones on. Like I said, right now, just kind of snug everything up, because if you need to move it around just a little bit to get your bolts lined up, that's the best way to do it. 17 millimeter. Emerson, you want to hand me a 17 millimeter? It should be probably one of the bigger ones.
I'm going to come to the other side. Okay.
And I know somebody might be a little nervous, brand new car, but I tell you what, I'd rather work on a brand new car that's nice and clean than something that's 20, 30 years old that's just caked full of dirt, grease, and you name it. So we take these two off, and they will not be used, but I do recommend saving them. Throw them in your little bag that came with the kit that you got all your plastic clips in and the hardware that you didn't reuse in the front. Okay, those are off. And then you're going to take your two provided countersunk bolts. And those are probably going to be, those are 14s. Take that. Let's get the socket set up a minute, a little easier. Just like that. And we're gonna Emerson, why don't you reach under here and hold that? That's where two hands come in handy, because what it is these two, if you can see that, they're hooked together. So it's nice to have somebody to hold that up when you get these started. Needless to say, you can do it by yourself. I remember doing the cross check by myself, and unfortunately that was on my garage, on the floor, on my back. So a lift is a lot nicer. So that's that on that. Like I said, they're just snug down, hand tighten. I'll wait till everything's put up. And then what we have here is three Allen head countersunk nuts and bolts that come with the kit. And these will get mounted here. So your bolts go up through the bottom. And by the look of that, I believe that's probably a 10 millimeter nut. And get those kind of in there, and like I said, everything's really easy. Even if you've never done this before, I mean, it's simple. You know, the kit does come with directions. The only one that didn't come with directions was the mid plate, but I mean, that was self-explanatory. I just held it up and was able to tell what factory bolts to use, but I still have to go back and tighten everything up yet, but as you can see, the back is installed. You know, a little torque down on the nuts and bolts, and we're good to go. We're ready to hit the trail, so I want to say thank you, and hopefully this helps you guys. This is, I guess, part 2 of the build process on this. I did install a roof basket and our awning a couple days ago, and I didn't take a video of that. I mean, that was pretty simple and self-explanatory. We will probably try to, it's nice out, so once we get these on, we'll probably pull it out. Oh, maybe we'll get the awning set up and do a quick walk around and everything on it. Nothing too long, just, you know, kind of a silent, quick walk around on it so you guys can see it. But if I want to say, for all 3 skid plates, 500, a little over 500, and that's the cheapest as far as other companies, LP and whatnot, and they're the same quality skid plates, 3/16 aluminum, nice bends, everything lined up perfect, no complaints. So once again, I hope this helped everybody. And if you guys aren't working on one of these and just, you know, like Subarus and mods done to them, then I'm hopefully going to continue doing some videos on this. Thanks again, and you guys have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.